prettiest woman in the world or not. These are subject to variety of realities. But whether you will become a pleasant piece of life or not is 100% in your hands. If you exercise this choice, the Buddha is within you. Otherwise, you have lost it. If you have questions, any kind of questions. Switching off my microphone. Where's the audio?
Hello.
Thank you. Om Sadhguru Ve Namah, Charan Sprash. You mentioned about children and their happiness, and I heard you also sing a beautiful rhyme some time ago in India. What I would like to ask here is, children, when they're born, when they're children, they have no boundaries, they have no religion, they have no caste or creed. They are the happiest things on earth, if we say things to them. And also they are, someone that they carry compassion, kindness with them. But as we grow, as you said, we change. Now, what is the way that we can begin from cradle with this happiness and end in a cradle? That's one question I have. The other, I'm very confused about mind and consciousness. If Guru could kindly explain what that is. And just exploring a little more as a Buddha of these days, Sadhguru, can I ask you, can there be a politics without parties? Thank you.
Hello, is okay, yeah. Now, let's come to terms with this. Children are definitely a bundle of joy, but they're not all those fantastic things that you're saying. Children can be terribly mean. Yes? Yes or no? Those who have not raised children think other things about them. Those who have raised children, if you don't give them what they want, they can be terribly mean. Yes or no? They can be very cruel. And what they want is what they want. Growing up means you grew out of those things normally. You're supposed to. Yes? Why growing up is better than being a child? It is, isn't it? A grown-up is supposed to be way better than a child in everything because child is compulsive. Yes, he's a bundle of joy, but he's compulsive. What he wants, he wants. If he doesn't get it, he will do something else. So, I grew up means I grew out of all those compulsive things and I'm able to handle my life a little more consciously. That's what it's supposed to mean. But now you're saying they're loving, they're compassionate. No, don't be deceived by that. They are not all that. They can be real mean little things. I'm using the same thing. But if you let them do their own thing, they're joyful. But now what's happened with the adults is, even if they're doing what they want, they're still miserable. This is just not because of anything else, it's just that the level of meanness that a child exhibits goes off. See, a child If he doesn't get what he wants, a little infant will beat the mother with his tiny little hand. When he beats you in the face, it was nice and cute because the hand is so small and it doesn't hurt. The same hand became this big, boom! You don't like it. It's only a question of size. They're cute and they walked all over you, you were so nice. But somebody big walked all over you, not good, isn't it? So, there is a size advantage to a child. Today it's become a fashion for even spiritual leaders to say, I'm like a child. I'm asking you, suppose you stopped at the age of 6, in body and in brain. You stopped growing at the age of 6 and you remained like a child. Would you call this a great, fantastic way to live? Or would you think you're retarded? Hello? When you were a child, you were desperate to grow up quickly. Yes or no? Now you are saying, that was great. No, no, no. This is great. Only thing is, we have to conduct this well. Then we could not conduct it well. Others conducted everything for us and we just enjoyed that. Now we have to conduct this ourselves. But we have a choice and we have the ability to conduct this well. Those who don't conduct this well are miserable, angry, frustrated, depressed. You must understand this. You are from a culture where the fundamental teaching is, everything is your karma, right? Karma means action. Whose action? My action. Action means there are 4 dimensions of action happening within you every moment of your life. Right now there is physical action happening within you, mental action, emotional action, energy action happening every moment. In wakefulness and in sleep it is happening. But how much of it is conscious is a question. From the time you woke up today morning till now, how much of these 4 dimensions of activity are you performing consciously? I'm asking you. How much of it is conscious? Tell me, what's the percentage? It's well below 1%, believe me. So when 99% of all that you do is happening accidentally or unconsciously, how do you expect life to go the way you want it? So the entire science of yoga or whatever Gautama spoke is all about raising your ability to be conscious. Not conscious of something else, because you cannot be conscious of something else. There is no something else. You know everything only the way it happens in the firmament of your mind. Isn't it so? Yes? You don't know anything else in the universe. Only if it happens inside, you know it. What doesn't happen within you, you do not know it, isn't it? You fell asleep, close your eyes, the world is going on full on. You don't know a thing, isn't it? Because only if it happens within you, it exists for you. Otherwise, it does not exist for you. So this is your doing. This is the most dynamic teaching on the planet. When we say, your life is your karma, we are saying, your life is your making. There is no other force. It's you and you alone who is doing this. But because 99% is happening unconsciously, it looks like somebody is doing something to you. If you are fearful, in every corner of this Timpu streets, you will see ghosts. Yes or no? You went and saw a horror movie. Next 1 week, whichever corner of the street you see, there will be those ghosts. After 1 week, they disappear. Is it happening or no? So the problem is 2 basic faculties. There is something called as memory, there is something called as imagination. These are 2 wonderful qualities of being human. Because only human beings have such a vivid sense of memory of everything that we experience, we can remember. And we have a very vivid sense of imagination. No other creature has this. Now, this is what human beings are suffering. You can suffer what happened 10 years ago, isn't it? Hello? And you can suffer what may happen day after tomorrow already. What happened 10 years ago, does it exist right now? Does it exist right now? No. What may happen day after tomorrow, does it exist right now? No. So you are suffering something that does not exist. If somebody suffers something that does not exist, do you call such a person sane or insane? No, I'm only asking you a question. I'm not abusing you. I'm only asking you a question. If someone is suffering something that does not exist, do you call that sanity or insanity? This is like, there was a man, this is an Indian man in California. He had a windfall in the stock market. He made a huge amount of money. He's already over 60 years of age. He wants to spend as much money as possible upon himself. So he bought himself a 1932 Ferrari, paying $36 million. He bought a Beverly Hills home for $80 million. Like this, he went about spending his money because he's got so much money, he wants to spend it. Then he needed a medical checkup. In California, there are medical institutions which are swankier than 7-star hotels. So this is not a simple medical checkup, going there, this test, that test, not like that. 15 days you admit yourself in the resort. So slowly, at your own pace, they will do all the tests. So he admitted himself for this. They appointed a very pretty looking nurse to take care of him. He was enjoying the whole atmosphere very much. On the 4th day of being there, he felt so relaxed in the evening. Unfortunately, what should happen in the toilet happened on the bed. He didn't know how to handle this. He was so embarrassed. What to do with this mess on the bed? Just when he was thinking what to do, he heard the footsteps of this lady, this young lady, coming towards his room. Fortunately, in America, women don't walk quietly. They come talk, 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 talk. It's a man's design. She cannot walk quietly. So he heard the talk, 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 and he doesn't want this young woman to see the mess on the bed. So he quickly gathered the bed sheets and threw it out of the 5th floor window. Down below, a regular man who's just getting home from a party. It's such an unfair world, because they made the damn planet round and it's spinning on top of it. How is a man expected to walk on it? You realize this only when you have a few drops more or a few drops less between your ears. Suddenly you realize it's so difficult to walk on a round planet. This man had just discovered this fact, and he was slowly walking home sideways, and the sheets came and covered him. He screamed and he fought with the sheets. It took over 2 minutes for him to get the sheets down. Hearing all this commotion, the security came rushing. And he had the sheets down, standing there, dazed, looking at the sheets. The security people came and asked, "What happened? What is all this commotion about?" He looked down and he said, "It looks like I've beaten the shit out of the ghost." Now, you are creating all kinds of ghosts in your head, and then you're trying to win the battle. If you win, you're really lost. Because what is happening in your mind is your making. Yes or no? Whether love is happening or fear is happening, both are your making. Yes or no? Joy is happening, misery is happening. Both are you are making. God is happening, devil is happening. Both are you are making. Yes or no? Whatever walks in the terrain of your mind is your making. If you don't want, you must be able to turn it off. Right now the problem is you don't know, you have a supercomputer for which you don't know where the keyboard is. So, what we are trying to teach you as spiritual process is just to find the keyboard, that things will happen the way you want, not something by accident. So a child is not better than you. Smaller, so cuter. But it's best you grow up. It's best your children grow up, or do you want them to stay like that and be joyful at the age of 6? You want to freeze your children at that age? Because if you go on eulogizing childhood, this is what you will do, isn't it? If you go on saying that is a great way to be, all of us will become silly giggling lot. Yes, being joyful is fine, but we don't want to be silly giggling lot, isn't it? We value our intelligence, we value our ability. Only thing is, our ability, whether it's being used to create what we want, or are we creating what we don't want in our lives? That's all the question is. Because you are free to create ghosts in your mind or angels in your mind, isn't it? You can do what you want. Or don't create anything, keep it empty and just look at the world the way it is. If you like drama, you create characters. If you don't like drama, you just sit there. This is what Gautama the Buddha is trying to transmit to you. If you want, you can simply sit there. No drama. You want drama, play the drama to the extent you want. When you don't want, shut it up and go back. This is all that they're trying to teach you, isn't it? But this is not happening because you've not found the keyboard yet, still searching all over the place. So what is the difference between mind and consciousness? See, this is all being spoken in English language, so there's a whole lot of confusion, because English language is very incompetent when it comes to describing inner dimensions of life. English language has become the language of the world today, because it is the most competent world when it comes to technical things, outside things. But when it comes to inner things, it's very poor in its vocabulary and understanding, both. In the yogic way of life, we look at the mind as 16 parts. One word, mind, is supposed to describe everything, but we look at it as 16 dimensions of mind. They can be categorized as 4 categories. These 4 categories are buddhi, or the intellect, ahankara, the identity, manas, the huge silo of memory. There are 8 dimensions of memory in this, and the fourth dimension of intelligence, which is called as chitta. Chitta is that dimension of intelligence which is unsullied by memory. That is, there is not an iota of memory. Right now, your buddhi or your intellect can only function if there is the support of memory. If I wipe out your memory, your intellect cannot function. See, right now, a person comes from the village. Even a city kid makes him look stupid. Yes? Simply because a city child has more information in his head. Not more intelligence, more information in his head. Because of this, he acts smart. Because this is the nature of the buddhi or the intellect. Without information, it cannot function. This is not intelligence. This is just a certain competence of mixing information and handling survival process. But there is a dimension of intelligence within you which is untouched by memory. And there is a dimension of memory within you which goes back very long. These 8 dimensions of memory are known as elemental memory, atomic memory, evolutionary memory, genetic memory, karmic memory, sensory memory, inarticulate memory, and articulate memory. Generally, what you know as memory is a small aspect of the articulate memory, something that you can remember and articulate. Rest of it is all there. Without it you couldn't function for a moment. See, for sure, you don't remember how your great-great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother looked like, do you? No. But his or her nose is sitting on your face right now. Because your body remembers, isn't it? Your body remembers how your forefathers were 1,000,000 years ago, isn't it so? It remembers. That is why we are like the way we are. So there is an enormous amount of memory in every cell in your body. But there is an intelligence within you that if you eat a piece of bread, there is an intelligence here which can make this piece of bread into a human being. Is it happening or no? The food that you eat, that food that you ate for lunch, is it becoming a human being right now within you? It is. You are not doing it consciously, but there is an intelligence within, without mistake, it is doing it. Suppose you ate dog food, will you become a dog? I'm asking. No, there is an intelligence within you which will never make that mistake, isn't it? This is what we are referring to as chitta. This is the source of creation. This is what creates you the way you are. In the yogic lore, the yogis are joking among themselves like this. Mischievously they are saying, if you access your chitta, if you find access to your chitta, if you touch your chitta, then they are laughing and saying, God will become your slave. Because this is the intelligence which is the very source of creation, which is in every atom, which is in every aspect of life, and of course within you. The question is only, do you access it or you don't access it? If you access it, your life becomes magical. If you do not access it, you will, when you are a child, you think being an adult would be better. When you are an adult, you think being child was better. And somebody will think when he's dead, everything will be better. Yes, if you live a miserable life, people around you will think, when will he go? Yes or no? Don't be mistaken. They may not exactly think like that, but they want you to disappear. How they don't care? Yes or no? If you are the source of misery always, do people want you to disappear or no? They want you to disappear. Because somewhere unconsciously at least they know this is a brief amount of time that we have in this life. They want to do the best they can to themselves. Yes? And every human being must do the best that is possible for themselves. Because if you do not know how to do the best things to yourself, there is no way you will know how to do the best things to other people. Only when you're joyful you can do truly good things to others around you. When you're miserable, you do nasty things. Yes? I think. I'm sorry, is it time? One or two more questions. Whoever, please take the microphone.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Hello? Oh, okay. I was wondering if you could quickly speak on your opinion on the recent attacks that have been happening by the radical group ISIS for their religion. Thank you.
Oh, why am I supposed to say whether I like it or I don't like it? I mean, what is there to have an opinion about it? See, if I could cut you into pieces and again put you back into one hole, then it would be fun to cut you into pieces and put you back. But if I cut you into pieces, I can't put you back. So I have no business to cut you into pieces. As simple as that, isn't it? But for our survival, we may have to cut something. Yes? So we must cut it to the minimum possible, only to the extent it's necessary. But any other cutting, whether of plant, tree, animal, human, you have no business. There is no business in the world which allows you to cut another life, whatever that life is, not necessarily human. But you think all right to cut this, you think all right to cut that because your cause is bigger than their life. This is unfortunate, but we must understand, this is not a sudden happening. This has been happening for over 2000 years, continuously. Only thing is today, if they kill 100 people somewhere, the blood flows into your sitting room because of your television. 1000 years ago, if they killed 1000 people just across somewhere, you sat here very peacefully looking at the sunset. Yes or no? But last 2000 years this has been happening. What is the cause? The cause is just this. Somewhere somebody has been told that our way is the only way. If you don't come our way, you must be dead. Unfortunately, this has been put into people's minds. Once you put this idea into people's minds, when we will start killing each other is only a question of time. It's only a question of time. When I believe my way is the only way, if you don't come my way, I will give you 5 years. If you don't come my way, then I will kill you. If I am set on this, it is only a question of time when I want to kill you, isn't it? So first thing is, this is why I said in the very beginning, we have to move humanity from all kinds of belief systems to a certain basic level of sincerity. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. You have assumed another heaven which you think is better than this. Yes, with you here, definitely another place must be better. If you are such a miserable creature, with you around, of course, another place must be better, isn't it? If you fly out of this solar system, you've been traveling a lot, your father is telling me. Suppose your school took you out of the solar system and you look down at the solar system, among the 11 odd planets and the sun, if you look at it, which do you think is the best planet for you to live? Jupiter? Venus? Which one? Earth, for sure. So, and it is floating in the cosmos. It is a heavenly body, isn't it? So I am asking you, do you have any proof that you are not already in heaven? Do you have any proof? Maybe you are in heaven and messing it up. Yes, it is so. So the moment people believe there is another world which is better than this, they are bound to mess this up. If we understand this is the only bloody place we have to live and we have to keep it well, we would strive for that, isn't it? It's very important to know, if we want to live, this is the only place to live. And keeping it good for ourselves and the future generations is very, very important. If we understand this, we wouldn't want to kill anybody and send them to heaven. See, why are you taking people? You don't like those people. Why are you taking them for your company in heaven? I can't understand this. You must go to heaven and leave us here. We are no good people anyway. You please leave us here in this bad planet and you go to heaven. Why don't you do that? Why do you want to take us? So, this is going on for too long. Time to bring an end. You can't bring it to an end by shooting people, by killing people. We have to bring this awareness that let us come to this much sincerity as human beings. Let's be straight. What we do not know, let's not assume. You did not see any heaven, did you? Hmm? So let's work with what we have in our hands. Let's make it beautiful and wonderful. At least for yourself, if not for me. You don't like me, leave me alone. You make it wonderful for yourself. I will make it wonderful for myself, all right? If both of us could work together, fine. If it's not possible, you do your bit, I'll do my bit. But you want to go to heaven, you must proceed. Why you want my company whom you don't like anyway? Yes. Please.
Sadhguru, I am a brigadier from Indian Army. And first I would like to confess that I do believe that I am already in heaven. And I do believe that the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, the creator, the preserver and the destroyer, they are within me. I am the creator, I am the preserver and I am the destroyer of my own world.
You're scaring me now. I know you're a brigadier, I didn't know you're a destroyer.
And with that kind of a knowledge, not the belief which I just said, when I do my action, I feel that I am going to be in control of my intellect, thereby becoming a Buddha. But every day, I undergo the transition from Buddha to Buddhu. For the simple fact that it's not only my actions which count. Most of the time, I am reacting to somebody else's actions. It is my expectations which always put me down. I really do not know how do I traverse and avoid this constant transition from being Buddha to Buddhu by getting on to react due to misplaced expectations rather than only being action oriented. Thank you.
It's a popular question, is it, here? Or you're just clapping because he said, I'm already in heaven? We will put down a few of those things, but the fundamental thing is just this. Why is it I'm not able to keep myself the way I want? That's a basic question. Because we are from India. And we have 15,000 years of culture and tradition. Of course, we have a little complex ways of expressing this. It's like this. You must first of all understand this. You come from a land which is a godless land. I want you to listen to this carefully, not react to it. India is a godless land. This is what is unique about us. We are devout but godless. This is what set us apart. For many thousands of years, unfortunately, Syria is like in rubble right now. When I traveled there about 6 years ago, I drove from Beirut to Damascus and to Iraqi border and all over the place. And everywhere you go, you will meet many people in Lebanon and Syria who take the name of Hind. They call themselves India, even today. Even today in Lebanon, there must be at least 50,000 to 100,000 people whose name is Hind. I asked why? Why are you calling yourself India? Because India was their idea of prosperity for thousands of years. Aleppo city, which is right now in rubble, which was one of the most beautiful cities, is a 8,000-year-old city, still living, people living there. This was built on taxes levied upon the Indian traders. I want you to imagine, if you want to build an entire city based on taxes levied on a particular trading route, how much trade must have been happening 8,000, 10,000 years ago? That was the volume of contact. So these thousands of years, Everywhere, people refer to us as Hindustan, as one country, though politically we were over 200 entities. So this entire region, today we call it many states, and well, we integrated in 1947, and we broke some, we call this India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka. All this entirely was referred to as Hindustan. Hindu not referring to a religion. The word Hindu comes from this context. This culture evolved and developed in a very subtle way and could afford to do that simply because we had the protection of two geographical features. One is the Himalayan ranges, another is the Indian Ocean, which was referred to as Indusagara at one time. So the land that lies between Himalayas and Indusagara is Hindu. So all the people who lived in this land are Hindu. So Hindu is a geographical identity. So we were always referred to as Hindustan from geographical identity. But people looked at us because they did not know what religion we are. Because every trader who came carried his own god or no god. Like you carry 3 gods. Now the trouble is the destroyer is finding more expression. Because this has never been a land of believers. Here, the highest goal is not God, not the pleasures of heaven. The highest goal is mukti, moksha, which is ultimate liberation. Freedom is the highest value in our lives. Not God, not heaven, not pleasures, not food. Freedom from everything has always been the highest goal. And this entire region always lived like this. This is what is unique about this land. This is what is unique about us as a culture. This is the reason why it's very important to preserve this. Otherwise, we will also get into that state. You come my way or you're dead. Because we allowed this, because there was no persecution, now that we're talking about Buddha, let me tell you. See, when Gautama came, at his time, the Hindu way of life, or that region, the life was becoming super ritualistic. So ritualistic, and once it becomes ritualistic, rituals can be exploited by the people who conduct the rituals, and all kinds of exploitation was happening. So the fundamental goal of Gautama's movement of that time was to take you away from ritual and take you onto a meditative path, so that you don't have to depend on anybody. You can do what you want to do within yourself. Well, so many things have happened to Buddha's life since then, that's a different thing. But at that time, that's what he tried. When he came, he made fun of all the Hindu deities which are there. He said, you were worshipping a zoo full of gods. The Hindus stepped back and said, well, we also know there is only one God, but we like variety. So we're doing it right now. Then he pushed it forward and he said, there is no God. They stepped back and said, yes, we also know. In our Upanishads it says there is no God, but there is Atman. Gautama pushed on and he said, you are an Anatma. That means you are a non-soul, you don't have a soul. You don't have a God, you don't have a soul. Why he is doing this is, he wants to destroy everything that you believe. It doesn't matter what. You believe God, you believe devil, it doesn't matter. This is just a psychological drama you're playing. Whatever you believe is just a psychological drama, isn't it? This happened, I must tell you. 2 young boys, very energetic. When boys are very energetic, they are constantly in trouble.